Marston's Domain.
Hey everyone, Marson here, and today I wanted to talk about Mario Kart because I've talked about in the past that I feel like some of the formula needs to be changed up a little bit, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about 5 new items that they could potentially bring to Mario Kart. Now, do I think they're going to bring these over? No, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about 5 different items that I think could be kind of unique and kind of fun with the game. So with these items that I'm going to be talking about, my idea was to try to come up with things that would really change how Mario Kart is in terms of how the items are right now. Because the way it is now, I don't mind that there are shells in the game. I mean, they're a staple to the game as it is. I mean, I couldn't imagine Mario Kart without shells. But I think that they could make items that differentiate from how shells work, so that way shells and these other items would make for a really unique experience. So for the first item, I think they could add a wiggler. So the thing that I think would be unique with this is that I think when the player were to release the wiggler, it would walk horizontally on the course, and it would go back and forth as long as it hits a wall. If there's no wall there, then it's just going to keep going, and eventually it would just disappear. So there would be some strategy on where you'd want to release the wiggler. And when you release it, it would be walking at a normal pace. But if someone hits it, they'll bounce back, and the wiggler will get really mad and start going a lot faster. So if you have this wiggler in a narrow hallway and someone hits it, it's going to be pretty hard to avoid. And I think it would be cool if it just made you bounce backwards, because that way not everything is always making you peel out or have a bounced explosion type of thing. And I think in general, it would be fun to have more items where you could strategically place them. I think that was their mindset with the fake item boxes in Mario Kart 64. But after a while, you kind of get used to where someone's going to put them, and it's kind of obvious where they are in general. So I think the wiggler would add some strategy on where to place it, and it would add skill for the opponent to try to avoid it and get around it. So next up, I have Pokies. I think Pokies would be fun because you could have them to where when you place them, they grow slowly. And maybe even just for more Mario Kart chaos, it could be random on how tall they get. And obviously there'd be a maximum, but you place it and it's just the head, and then it grows a little bit. And then if someone hits it, this would act as if a shell hits you. So this kind of contradicts what I said earlier about the wiggler, because this would be similar in the fact that you would get hit as if a shell hits you if you run into it. But the thing that would be different is that now that you've hit it, it'll break into pieces, and now other people can run into those individual pieces. But something that I think could be cool about this item that would make it different than a shell is that if you have a mushroom, you could strategically run into it, because you'll just hit the Pokey into a bunch of pieces and you won't get slowed down. And I think in general, even though I said earlier that not everything should act as a shell, and I do think shells are fine, but I think that being one of the main things going across all throughout Mario Kart can get a little too chaotic. I know Mario Kart's supposed to be chaotic, but with 12 racers on the course, when you have a million green shells going, the red shell that you know is going to hit you, it does get kind of old, in my opinion. So I think by having a Pokey, even though it acts as a shell if you hit it, it would still be unique in how it's used within Mario Kart. So I think it would add a little bit more depth, and there would be strategy, because if you have a mushroom, you could choose to specifically run into it to have those pieces go on the course and maybe get in the way for another racer. So next up on my list, I think this one is pretty cool because it would be really unique to Mario Kart. I think they should add charge and chucks. The reason why I think this item would be really cool and unique is that instead of getting hit, instead of peeling out, instead of bouncing up in the air, the way the charge and chuck would work is that when you place it, there's a chance that they'll do nothing. They'll just kind of roam around a little bit, and they'd have a proximity to where someone would need to get close enough to them. And maybe just to add a little bit more spice, maybe they'll randomly charge in one direction for a little bit and then just start walking again, just to add a little bit more suspense when you're racing to not know exactly where they're going to go. But the main thing about this would be the fact that if you come in proximity with the charge and chuck, it'll push you to the side. And you won't really lose momentum. You'd lose some, But the main gimmick of this is that for a brief moment, you get pushed completely sideways. So if you're near a wall, you're going to get pushed into that wall. If you're really far in the course, maybe nothing really happens. Maybe you just get pushed and you're still on the course. But if you're on a course where there's no wall or no guardrails or anything, you're going off the course. And I think what could be fun about this is that you would always have to be alert, because not only do you have to look out for yourself, but if someone else gets in the way, charging chucks are pretty big. So if someone else gets it to go and charge to the side, then you might get hit by that too. And I think it'd add a lot of fun, because I think the thing that gets a little bit old with Mario Kart, again, in my opinion, is that Mario Kart starts to be a little bit predictable. Once you know all the courses and you know all the drifts you need to take and you know all the shortcuts, it kind of just comes down to RNG. And that's fine, because Mario Kart's supposed to be a fun party game. But I think even with the RNG, it's predictable. You kind of know, okay, here comes the shell. Okay, you kind of know here's the plethora of green shells going everywhere. And then you kind of know there's always going to be a blue shell going off. So I think if they put items in place that add a lot more variation within the RNG, I think it'd make it a lot of fun, and it'd always keep you on your toes. I think the thing that gets old with Mario Kart is that I'm not really always on my toes. I kind of just know, all right, this is just run-of-the-mill, I'm doing my thing, that's it. Either I get hit by a blue shell or not, either I get hit by a red shell or not, I'm just doing the drifts I know, and that's it. So I think by adding the items that I've already stated, this kind of changes that, because there's a lot more room for variation. Not as much with the Pokey, but I think the Wiggler and definitely the Charge and Chuck would do this. So now, this is a little bit more of a basic item, I feel like, but I think it'd be kind of neat. And this would be a barrel from the original Donkey Kong, where you get a barrel, you throw it behind you, or you could hold it behind you and it would protect you. If you throw it, it can either hit someone, or it'll just explode on its own in a little bit. And there can either be a multiple amount of bananas, mushrooms, or a combination of the two. And again, this is a little bit more boring, or more basic, I should say, from the other three items that I talked about. But the thing that I like about this, that I think could add to Mario Kart, is that when you're playing the game, if there's a random mushroom on the course, it can change everything. If you get hit with lightning, and then there's a mushroom there and you boost, that can straight up change the entire race, because when you were supposed to be going slow, you just got a huge boost. And I think by having bananas be in there as well, or whatever the odds or RNG there is with bananas or mushrooms, both, whatever, the bananas would add more chaos to the track. Which could contradict what I was saying about the predictability and stuff of shells, but I think by having the barrel be RNG, I think could add to some of the fun and chaos without it just being shells and just being bananas, because you'd have the barrel mechanic and the fact that mushrooms could be inside it as well. Now, for my last item, I think this would be one of the most unique. Well, it could still be the Charge and Chuck, but I think this would be a really, really cool idea and concept for Mario Kart and would be very, very different. I think that they should add the Ice Flower. Now, with hearing that, you're probably thinking, how is it that unique? We already have the Fire Flower. This would work similar. What could really be so great about that? What I think would be really cool and would change how Mario Kart is in general is that this item would add a new mechanic to Mario Kart in general. Because my idea for this is that when you get hit by this, you turn into an ice cube. And the thing that would be really unique about this and would add a new mechanic to Mario Kart in general is that the faster you mash the buttons on your controller, the faster you escape the ice, and the faster you do it, the more momentum you maintain from when you got hit. And I think this would add a lot more to how the game is in general, because one of my biggest complaints is that a lot of times it just feels like you can't do anything about what's happening. If you don't happen to have an item behind you, you're getting hit by a shell. There's nothing you can do. And I think by adding something like this, it's constantly giving you something to do. With all the items that I've talked about, I feel like it's adding to the chaos, it's adding to the different things you have to be looking out for, and it adds to the different things that you'll be doing within the race. Instead of just always looking out for shells and banana peels, which you could argue the barrel is just adding to the shells, but I think it's different enough to add a little bit more than that because like I said, it can drop the mushrooms. But with all the other items I've talked about, I feel like it's just adding to how much you need to pay attention to and how much more involved you are in the race. Because like I've said, to me, Mario Kart just gets kind of old after a while. And I really feel like it's just because the fact that, at least with Mario Kart 8, because that's the most recent one that I've been playing, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that is that I know all the courses. So I know all the drifts, I know all the shortcuts. That could happen with any Mario Kart game. But it then comes down to, okay, I'm in first, I don't have an item for the blue shell. It's extremely rare that there is no blue shell. I'm just waiting to get hit by it. And if it's not that, then it's, well, hopefully I get an item to hold behind me because I'm going to get hit by a shell. And I feel like by adding these items that I've talked about and with the ice flower, I think the ice flower, with no pun intended, would be so cool because of the fact that it's giving you something else to do within Mario Kart. You don't just get hit by it and then you're screwed. You can get hit by it, and if you're really good at mashing and you have good reaction time, you're now driving pretty quickly. You didn't get stopped much. And I could already see where it could get intense at the end of a race. You get hit by it right near the finish line, and someone's driving behind you and you mash really, really fast and you get out of it. And because you can maintain some of your momentum, depending on how fast you mash out of it, you could still win. And I think that's what would make this so much fun and such a unique item, is that you're not completely screwed if you get hit by it. So those are the 5 items that I think would be really cool to be added to Mario Kart. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed my list. Definitely let me know what you think about my list in the comment section down below. And I'm sure you guys have your own ideas for items that could be added to Mario Kart, so feel free to talk about that in the comment section down below too. If you enjoyed this and want to support my content, feel free to subscribe. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Take care, everyone.